cosmic consciousness, extraterrestrials and UFOs, sacred geometry, ancient civilizations, spiritual connection, the quantum universe. All of these topics and so much more with your host, Sev Tuck, on Alien Spirit with Sev.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sev. Welcome to Alien Spirit. My guest today is Grace Calpus. She is an International Coach Federation certified coach since 2013. She's also a coach supervisor, trainer, and trained clairvoyant. Having had ET experiences most of her life, Grace is just now learning to befriend her ET guides and is working with them to bring light into the world of professional coaching. She currently trains coaches in unlocking and maximizing their intuition in their coaching sessions, while also staying within ICF professional standards of coaching. Grace will share her experiences with ET contact and how they transformed her life. She's also going to explain how she's integrating psychic abilities into her coaching programs, empowering life coaches to tap into their own intuitive gifts for deeper insight and connection with their clients. Welcome, Grace Calpus.
Thank you, Sev. It's awesome to be here. I appreciate you inviting me.
Thank you. You know, I love your topic, coaching and mixing it with our intuitive abilities. Let's start with your ET contact.
Yeah.
When did it happen and how often?
Yeah. I want to perk up ears for those who are not sure if they've had ET contact or not, where it's like seemed like maybe it was something, but then you're like questioning yourself. That's a lot how it occurred for me for many years to start with. Was I didn't connect it that way. I was just having these experiences that were clearly not normal, but wasn't able to define them or connect them to any kind of ET thing.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, this is the first time I'm coming out publicly about any of this. I do talk to people who are my friends and people maybe who've had experiences, but I don't generally speak about this to the general public. So this is a new thing for me. So I just want to preface my stories with that.
Thank you for coming out. It's a big deal. I appreciate it. And I know that you're going to help others. Someone's going to listen to your story. It's going to validate what happened to them. So thank you very much. It's a brave thing to do. I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us.
So my experiences, I think from the beginning, have always been more of a visceral and clairvoyant experience. So I don't think, at least that I can mentally recall, ever physically being taken or having a physical impact from an encounter. My encounters have been sort of like an if I lost kind of control over my mind and something else came and was there with me. So it was like someone sharing my own space with me. And sometimes I could actually see that being in my mind's eye. And sometimes it's just a voice. So it can be difficult for me to separate between like a spiritual experience or like a spiritual entity versus an actual ET. So I would say the actual ET experiences were later in life, and it wouldn't surprise me if there's a connection between my saying, if you make me see anything, I'm going to be pissed because I never want to see a ghost. I never want to see with my own eyes. Like, I don't want to go that far out of possibly losing myself. So I think there's been some respect for my desire to keep it internal. To start with, I can remember really young, like maybe 5 years old. I have this memory of standing in my bedroom at my bedroom window and looking up at the stars and saying, like, why did you leave me here? Like, what is going on? And it felt like there was something else out there. and that I had been sort of like plopped here and didn't really belong. And then around that age, I was around 5, I saw E.T., the movie, and was terrified that something was going to come out of my closet. So I don't know how much those are connected, but that's the first memory I have of there being any kind of connection for me with something outside of myself or outside of the universe. And then I had an experience when I was 8, and I had the flu, and I was staying home by myself watching TV, and I was watching a Children International commercial, and I just was overcome with this like sadness and like, I can't believe this happens in this world. And then I had this voice come and say, like, do you want to help this problem? And I said, yes, I want to help. And it said, okay, great, thanks for letting us know. And then it was gone. And then it came back again when I was in the Peace Corps. So obviously I made some decisions toward wanting to help the world. And when I was in the Peace Corps, I was also going through an illness at that time, and I had it again, and it was much more visual. It came in a dream, and then it woke me out of the dream, and I could, in my mind's eye, I could see this beautiful like Hare Krishna woman standing in front of me, and she was like, okay, we just want to check and make sure that you really want to do this. You really want to help, serve. And I had this overwhelming experience of, it's like a power so much bigger than me, and feeling this unconditional love. And then my reaction to that was like, oh my God, I'll do whatever you say. Like, I feel horrible for being a horrible person at any point in my life. Like, like it is kind of like the feeling that people describe when in like religions where they look up to this big, powerful being. So that was an interesting, I think, reaction and feeling from that, when that entity wasn't necessarily trying to project it. That's what it was. So that was an interesting time. But more recently, I've had real connections where I was like, oh, that's an ET. And so I have had an encounter with a mantis that came after I put out invitations for entities to come and meet me. And it came in the middle of the night again, woke me up out of a dead sleep, was sort of hanging or standing over my body. So it was like parallel over my body like this. And I could see its big eyes, and it was definitely a mantis. Like visually, that's what I saw. But even more powerful than that, I knew I was awake and I could hear it with my ears. So I could hear this clicking sound when it breathed. So when it would go click, 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 click. Like it was like, to me, it felt like a clicking of bones or skeletons against each other. They were almost like scales, and they would like click when they expanded and then clicked when they come together. And that to me was like, okay, this thing is here. And it said, you called, how can I help you? And I was like, I always love to have energy, clearings and anything that can get out of my energetic field that's been stuck there for generations or lifetimes or whatever it is, like help me clear that out. And I could feel this like really powerful energy go all the way from my head to my feet, and like this expansion, and kind of, even as I'm describing it, I get the chills and I can feel it now. And so it went head to toe. And then it said, is there anything else I can do for you? I said, no, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming. And it was like, okay. And then it got up and it like clicked its way out and then just kind of like went out of my space. That was the most clear example of one that I've had recently. And it was an invitation that I put out to the universe. And
here's a picture of a typical Mantid. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So I picked this picture because this is the closest I could feel to what I saw.
Not
exact.
What was the most similar in this picture to what you saw?
The shape of the head and the eyes were more forward rather than on the sides. Like some people see the mantis with their eyes more almond shaped into the side, but this one was more forward. So that's why.
And the colors?
Yeah, I think gray versus green for sure in the like the skin. And to me it had that exoskeleton kind of thing. So I don't know if it was a hybrid of some kind. Because all of the pictures and things I've seen from other people that have experienced mantids are like eyes more almond shape on the side, very, very skinny and tall, wearing some clothes sometimes. And this was not that. It was a combination of that plus something else.
And what color were the eyes?
They were like this. They were dark, but they weren't. How do I say that? They were. I think that's why I like the green in these eyes. It almost feels like to me you could see in, but you can't really see in. So it was almost like they were wearing sunglasses.
Oh, it is believed that the grays wear protective eye gear.
I've heard that.
And that their eyes aren't really black like that. Here is a painting from an experiencer that came to me, and it's really a wonderful painting. He was aboard a craft, and he was with the mantids and the grays. And in this one, you can see the mantid, the far left one, is holding a wand.
Yeah.
And sometimes people see the grays with wands or the mantids with wands. We're not quite sure what they do. And like you said, this gentleman portrayed the mantids with their eyes more on the side of their heads than what you saw. Your eyes were smaller and to the front. And this one has clothing too.
Yeah, Mine was more robust as well. Like these are drawn very skinny. And mine was more robust. It kind of more matched my body type in terms of size and width versus being this like skinny waif. It was much more like stronger, I guess. It felt like it was maybe, I get the number 3, like 3 levels up, meaning maybe, I don't know, with the grays, there's this sort of level of where that's kind of a fake body that's down on Earth, and they're kind of remotely, as an avatar kind of thing. So it's safer for them to be here because if they get killed, the body gets killed as
like a robot,
like a robot, a biological robot. I know grays kind of have levels like that of how they show up, and it felt like level 3 is what comes to me. So there may have been more like boots on the ground types of mantis, where this one was more ethereal and able to travel interdimensionally a lot more fluidly.
And what was the prayer or the call that you said to bring the mantid to you?
So it was something from Bashar. So Bashar is, channeled. It's not actually one entity. It's like a community of entities, but a channeled entity through Daryl Anka. And he, Daryl and Bashar have put tons of energy into bringing people into the idea that ETs are out there and that we are part of a galactic community, and we need to start getting used to this idea because open contact is imminent. And so I was just sort of following instructions from him, which was like, do these exercises and put up a picture, on your mirror and say hello to it every day, and practice how you're going to respond to it, because part of them not interacting is being afraid of our responses, not because it'll hurt them necessarily, but because they don't want us freaking out. So they're trying to be respectful, I think. So if we've kind of practiced and gotten our field to the place where we can receive and not freak out, then it's easier for them to come in and be with us. And so part of the practice was, hello, I see you, I'm not afraid. And being prepared to have a conversation. And I honestly was like, whatever, this isn't going to work. I think I did it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And I just I was like, okay, it's an experiment. What the hell, you know? I've gotten results from him before, his instructions before. So, and then just in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m., it happened. So,
Was your husband in bed with you?
uh,
Were you married? Okay.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So he was completely asleep, nothing.
Well, you can wake him with a anything.
Okay.
I don't know. I was going to say bomb.
And
I don't want to say that.
did you feel a familiarity with this mantid?
I felt that it knew me better than I knew it, but that, how do I put it? It was, I always personally feel like any connection that I get that's direct like that, it's part of my soul family in some way. And I can't always say like, oh, it's this or it's that, but maybe familiar is the best word, but I couldn't be like, oh, it felt like this from my childhood or whatever. It's more just part of my family, I guess.
Has it come back?
It has not come back since then in that way, but I have asked it or its energy to come in and help me with I did a presentation at a conference to help me set up the space for the presentation and to work with me during that presentation to help the volunteer who was going to get the demo with me, which was using clairvoyance and coaching, just to kind of help me set that up. And I knew that it was there. I don't even want to say he or she because I don't know, but it was there. And I had invited it. I was walking around the grounds, which is all nature. It was beautiful. And I just invited it to come and like see through my eyes what it looks like through our eyes. Because like we don't see the same as a bumblebee, right? Why would we think that we see the same as some other entity? So I just invited it to look through my eyes and to see what it looks like and feels like to be human. And it was grateful for that, and that was prior to my event, and then stepped in and helped me with the event. And I don't know how to describe it. I can just feel its presence there. I know it's not, the words coming out of my mouth are not mine, but coming from a deeper place. And I don't, it was its words, but more that it helped me be free to channel the information that was needed in that moment.
And have you channeled the mantid since then? Is it a regular practice of yours?
It's not a regular practice. I haven't thought of it in quite a lot of detail at this point, but there's a part of me that wants to respect their space. Like, I'm here to learn something too, and some of this is my responsibility. So to be like, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? Just feels like not quite right. So yeah, I feel when it's needed, it's there. And when I ask, that it is there, and that I don't want to be abusive of the relationship because it's a very important relationship to me. So I want to be respectful, just like they have been with me.
Have there been other beings that you've come in contact with?
I had an experience, and this was also from doing some Bashar work, where I was just chilling outside at like 11 p.m. at night, and I was just looking at the sky, so beautiful stars, and just enjoying it. And then I had this like crazy Kundalini experience, which I'd never had in my life and haven't had since. But like from my spine to my head, it was like lightning shooting out of through my spine and out the top of my head. And I was like, whoa, it was really, really intense. And there was sort of this guidance there of like, just relax, it's okay. And I felt like it just totally changed my vibration. I don't know where it came from. No clue. And then I looked up at the sky and I could see this distortion in the sky. It was like a giant letter D, but it was moving like if this were like a D, it was moving like this across the sky. And it was a distortion like when you see the heat come off the pavement.
Yes.
It was like that. And then out of that came like 6 or 7 ships.
My goodness.
They came out of that and just went pew across. And I said, excuse me, you can't like let me see you and then not talk to me. Like, that's not cool.
And then they just shut
And
off,
then
and that was
they left, like, I didn't see the crafts after that, but then I had these little, like, troll these troll guys come. Again, this is clairvoyant. These little troll guys came and, like, played with me, and they were just being very playful with me and, like, acknowledging that I was there, and just, like, they were doing their job of being like, "Yep, you're good, we see you, okay, bye."
that was right after you saw those 6 ships?
Uh-huh, right, like, when I said, "Hey, you can't just let me see you and then go
Oh,
away," and then
okay.
they came right then, like, in that moment.
Little trolls. Do you think they were elementals or they came from the ship? What do you mean a little troll?
Yeah, I don't know. They felt like they came from the ship to me.
Mm,
I use troll as the closest thing I can say because they
mhm.
were short and squat, but I wouldn't they're not
Hairy?
trolls.
Were they hairy?
They had a little bit on their head and more they had more of like that wide it makes me think of, the little trolls in Shrek. I don't know if you remember that. They were rocks, and then they, like, turned into these trolls. I don't know. Somebody will know that reference.
Yeah.
And, yeah, they were just very playful, but I had seen them before. I saw them when I was really young, I would say pre-10 years old, when I was sleeping in my parents' bed, and they were out at a party or something, and they came in the bedroom and then went out. There was 2 doors, a door into the bedroom and then the door to outside, like a double door going outside like a patio, and they, like, came in from one side and went out the other, and they were exactly the same. They were like, "Hee, hi, ha, hee," and they were just having fun, and then they, like, took off, and so I don't know. That stuff is so strange, and I
That didn't
never
scare you?
No! They're so nice.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. They've always been nice. I've never had, like I've had scary experiences, but nothing in that energy vibe of, like, ET kind
Mhm,
of that vibe to me is very high, and
mhm.
I have to be in that frequency to experience them.
So when the mantid came and it was over your head and it did something to you energetically, you
Yep.
felt okay. Can you tell us about that? Did you see any colors? What was the feeling like? And what were the after effects of that?
I'm just trying to let me represence
Mhm.
that. It felt now I've gotten a lot of energy work in my life, so I know what it feels like to have someone do energy work on me, and this was like 100-fold that level. It wasn't subtle at all. It wasn't like the Kundalini experience, which was like lightning shooting up my spine. It was more this like, if you could think of like going through an MRI machine, it was kind of like, bro,
Oh,
and it was a vibration.
yeah.
It didn't vibrate me like this, it was just, I could feel the frequency change all the way down to my toes. Um, in the after effects, it's hard to connect directly. But the fact that now I can call in that mantis and actually work with it when I want to, that's new. So I don't know if there's some level of ability now to move to that frequency that I can hear and talk to it. That may be a result. Um, because
I see.
when I did do this conference, like my own mind was blown about how I was being the whole 4 days that I was there, not just the hour that I did the talk.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, "Well, this is how it's supposed to be. This is how I'm supposed to feel," which was like relaxed, in tune, um, in tune with myself, in tune with nature, in tune with spirit, in tune with, this mantic. It's just like, oh yeah, I don't have to work. I don't have to do anything. I just need to show up in the moment and do what there is to do and say what there is to say and feel what there is to feel. And that's it. Like, I don't need to panic about anything. I don't need to have nerves about things. I don't need anxiety. I don't need to be depressed. Like, this is it. That's all there is.
Do you, before this, would you normally go there? Would you normally get nervous, worried?
Um, yeah, I typically when I do pre like event like that, I typically I have to pump up my energy because I am and what you would say more of an introvert, and I'm very sensitive to everything around me. So I kind of pump up my energy and project out to like keep everything out of my field. And then I'm exhausted, totally exhausted afterward. And this was more like I just didn't have to do that.
And you weren't exhausted either?
No.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I really like that it puts you in a really calm state, that you trusted that whatever was going to come out of your mouth was the right thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
And as a coach, that's very important. So when did you become a coach amongst this ET experiences?
So I became a coach in 2013. In that year, I had quit my job, which was at the time, I was actually a lobbyist for the Department of Public Health and Education here in Colorado. So I spent 5 years lobbying for, I mean, good things like clean air and clean water and whatever, but it's still a very toxic environment. And so I had quit my job and I had spent that year essentially detoxing, I was exhausted. I was constantly being told to lay down in my head, like lay down, take a nap. And I could feel things working on me during that year. And then I didn't know about coaching, and I like heard about it during that time, and I Googled it, and this one particular school came up, and I watched a video on their webpage and just started bawling. I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is where I'm supposed to be. And I knew it. I didn't have the money for it. It was like $10,000. I quit my job. Didn't have any money. I just did it anyway. And the money showed up, So I would say that I was starting to do a lot of that work more intensely during that time that I chose to become a coach. And it intensified over the first year or two that I was coaching. And then I got divorced, and of course had to go through a huge life transformation, 180 degrees, in order to like line up with the energies that I'm bringing in, and who you have to be as a human to work with somebody in transformation is that you have to be transforming as well. And that means, frankly, some hard shit sometimes. And so I spent about 5 years going through that. That was fun.
Yeah. Well, it's ongoing, really, I think.
Always. And this in particular was very jarring. But I'd get signs all the time. I would feel like I hit rock bottom, and then like a bus would go by and it would say, everything is okay on the side.
Yeah. And you notice those things, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What is it about coaching that drew you in?
The power of realizing that you are, whether you like it or not, much bigger than who you think you are. And when you have the experience of your real, quote unquote, self, it's like nothing you've ever experienced before. And in my previous experience, prior to learning about coaching as a possibility for me, I had had many of those experiences with programs and other things that I have done. And when I realized like I could actually help people with that in their lives, I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I wouldn't have been doing all this transformation myself if it wasn't part of it. But just I think in my guts, I was like, okay, this is the next thing.
Yeah, it just felt right.
Uh-huh.
And so there's two things about you that I find really intriguing. First is that you're ET contactee. And the second is that you're bringing intuitiveness to traditional coaching. Because, I'm a coach and I do all this channeling and intuitive stuff, all that in my coaching, but I don't really see it addressed in traditional coaching. And so when you told me you were doing that, I was surprised.
Mm.
And I did know, I wondered, well, how are you going to be received? Is there an audience for this? Are people thinking, oh, no, 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 you can't go there? This isn't scientific. So, what has been the response? Well, first of all, before that, I just want to say that you've developed a coaching program for coaches who are interested in tapping into their intuitive abilities. So, can you tell us a little bit about that coaching program? What's it called? How someone can get in touch with you if they'd like to be part of the program?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the program is called the Insight Advantage, and it's for ICF certified coaches. And
Only ICF?
as of right
Okay.
now, yeah, because there's a mutual understanding of certain parameters.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, it provides a foundation that I think is really important. And the program is 6 months long, and there's three modules with 4 lessons each on how to tap into and use your personal, because it's personal how we receive our intuition, your personal intuitive tools, and how to use them appropriately within the ICF guidelines so that we're not going out of our lane. And then, I may very well go out of my lane and not do ICF coaching because I feel like that's where I'm going at this point. But you can certainly use this within the guidelines of ICF very effectively. And in fact, there's a certain degree of expectation that you do use your intuition. There's 3 levels: the associate certified coach, the professional certified coach, and the master certified coach. And to become a master certified coach, the bar is pretty high. And part of that bar is to be able to access the depth of conversation fairly quickly and in a way that is through the client's direction rather than your own direction. So it's an art, not a science. And to do that takes a level of presence greater than what we're used to being present to. So we need to hold everything that's happening in the space all at one time and listen for what it is that's emerging, that's newly emerging in the space, and ask questions from that place, or share, the feeling that just brought up in me, or being in the now moment with the client is where the magic happens. And so there's an expectation to be a master certified coach that you have the capacity to do that. So I don't think that using intuition is in any way outside of what the ICF expects coaches to be able to do. I think announcing it to your clients is it's more of the issue that they take.
Yeah, that's why I was so surprised. Like when people come to me, they know what they're getting.
Yeah.
Uh, and also, you have guest speakers in your program, and I'm honored to be one of your guest speakers. So that blew me away too. Everything you're doing to me is just groundbreaking and innovative. Yes, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the feedback that I've gotten from coaches that have been interested in the program and that have participated is that, we know that we use our intuition, or we know that we should use our intuition, but nobody calls it out and nobody really talks about how we can do that intentionally and how we can do that in a way that is like, I can be like, okay, I'm going to look and then I'm going to spit something out. Like usually it's a random thing that happens and we're like, oh, I got it. I got something. Maybe this will work. Right. But what I'm teaching is take a look at your clients and see what's emerging from them in their space. And that helps the conversation get deep very, very fast because you're getting underneath the thing that they're concerned about or the issue that they have. We always start at surface level, but if you want transformation, you got to go 4 or 5 layers down.
Right.
And if we can use our intuition intentionally in that, then we can get there fairly quickly at the client's pace, but we're not in the way. Usually we're in the way. So if we get out of the way, the client has then permission to go there if they want to. They don't always choose to, and that is okay too.
Mm-hmm. So the biggest question I get when someone gets an intuitive hit is, how do I know it's real? How do I So how do you address that? How does one know that the hit they just got is valid and worth investigating and possibly sharing with your client, as opposed to, I think I just made that up, I'm not sure.
Yeah. So there's a few things: practice in a safe environment where you can get feedback. So that's a big part of what we do in the program. Is we have small cohorts and we practice with each other using some of the tools that I teach, and then they get feedback and realize, like, oh, there was something to that. They learn how to leave their interpretation out and allow the client to interpret, and how
That's a
much
good
more
point.
powerful it is for the client to interpret it than for us to interpret it. So that practice and continuous feedback helps to hone in, what does it feel like when it's a real hit, and what does it feel like when it's like me making something up or projecting or whatever it is. So practice is one. Two is communicate it safely, which is essentially like, sometimes I get these like intuitive hits, and I just got this word that kept coming to me, and I'm wondering if it's okay if I just share with you that word and see if it means anything to you. And if not, it's totally fine. But I don't want to leave something on the table that might be helpful for you. And they always say yes, but that permission is really, really important. And to create the context around the offer is also really important, and not just saying like, oh, by the way, your dead grandmother has been standing behind you for the last 10 minutes. Like, that's out of the lane. That's not the lane.
You know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But like,
Right.
I might
So there's
do
ethics
that.
to this.
There's
Yeah.
so many ethics. And I have seen that. I've seen mothers are typically around women leadership. They like to tell them what to do in the background, whether it's energy or an actual, dead mom. And I'll just say like, I'm curious, does your mom have anything to do with this, or what do you think about that? And they'll just automatically be like, yeah. And then they'll make the connection,
Always, yeah.
So that
Mhm.
communication piece can help reduce the fear, because you're not claiming something to be true. You're just checking a door and seeing if there's something if you open it. And if not, it's fine. It's the client's choice, So being able to feel comfortable sharing it in a way that's safe for you as a coach, to stay within guidelines, it's safe for the client to say, I don't know what the hell that is. That's also a really big way, because then you're getting that feedback as well, by practicing in the real world, so to speak, and not just in the practice environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what's the percentage of men that are interested?
It's interesting, because it's a self-selected group, right? So when you talk about professional coaches, they're already like light years ahead of the average person when it comes to self-reflection. They've already like been doing their work. And that self-selected group is probably, I'm totally throwing this number out there, but just what I've seen, maybe 10% men are in that group. So I don't particularly feel like the men who have been interested or attracted in what I do are any different from the women coaches who are interested and attracted. So I don't see that there's a difference. I think the only difference is that my pool of people is narrow because of who steps into coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you're saying we're starting off with a small group anyway, and then from that tiny group, we're making it, there's even a tinier group of men. So there are men that are interested in this and are willing to go there,
Yeah.
which makes me happy. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
The more men that embrace their psi abilities, the better.
Yeah. And they're really, if you think about, it's kind of the flip side of women being in the like CEO world or C-suite world, where they have to work 10 times as hard to get into that place. They have to work 10 times as hard to maintain it. They have to deal with a lot of crap. Like, it's kind of the flip side for men in coaching, only in the sense that there's a lot of assumptions that women have about men that don't necessarily apply to those who have chosen to become coaches. Yeah. And they really do bring a different approach to it. Not all men, I would say, are super powerful in that sort of psi way. I mean, some of them are very heady in their head and doing, transactional coaching, which is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about real transformational work, and the men who do that work they are incredibly powerful, and the masculine energy that they bring to then a feminine energy is really quite interesting and useful to learn from.
Yeah, that's very interesting what you just said. Now, you also said a term I hadn't heard before, transactional coaching. What's transactional coaching?
So transactional coaching is like, I come to you and I want to get a promotion. And that's really, I need you to help me figure out how to get a promotion. And if the coach or the client chooses to stay at that level of like, okay, what do you need to do? What actions do you need to take to get promoted? That's transactional. There's nothing wrong with it. Many people only want to deal at that level. But then another layer down is transformational, where you're getting at who the person is showing up as and how that is creating their reality. And it is all perfect and okay. The only thing is they want a different reality, but they don't know how to create it because they've been being the same thing their whole life. And so transformational coaching is, what do you need to shift in your being, how you show up to have a different outcome? And then there's transpersonal coaching, which is where we go into the spiritual space, which is more, I think, what you do, Sev, which is that willingness to question your being altogether and sit in the unknown and be okay not knowing actually who you are or what this is, or, and just rest in it and experience it rather than judging it, analyzing it, coming up with an answer.
I know. But we're always analyzing, and it's ongoing. All right. You're also a trained clairvoyant. So what does clairvoyance mean, and how did you train?
So I spent actually 4 years in a program where the instructor had natural clairvoyant and has communicated with entities through her whole life. And so she, like I have developed a program for coaches, developed a program for anybody to learn how to access their intuition. And I spent 4 years in that program. And through the course of the learning, also we had to come like once a week and do readings for people. And so I used to go to expos and just like read people. Like every 10 minutes I'd have a new person, and that helped me figure out what's coming in and what's mine, because I had to get mine out of the way like really, really quickly.
It's not easy when you're in that environment. I've done that before.
Yeah.
Did you use cards or nothing? You just sat there?
No, I just looked at them clairvoyantly. They would ask a question, and they don't have to have a question. They would say like, oh, I want to know about this relationship with my mother-in-law or whatever it is. Or they'd be like, I don't know, I just want to just tell me what you see. And either way is fine.
Right.
And I would just share what I saw, and they did what they did with it.
Okay. That's really interesting that you did that, because for many people that is really scary. Very scary thing. Look at you just shrug it off. It's like, so
I mean, some people aren't going to get it. Others will get it. Sometimes I'm like out in outer space and I'm not at all. But that happens too. So, but the only way
it never occurs to you that, oh my gosh, I'm sitting here and I could be saying completely the wrong thing. What am I doing?
But that's me in the way.
Yeah. How do you deal with that?
That's, well, when you have a constant influx of people coming in, and I had somebody working with me who was just like feeding me people, I just had to get out of the way. It was like standing on the edge of a cliff, you have to jump off at some point. And to, you have to have a parachute to jump off, I guess. And I would just jump off.
You would know that. If everyone, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you're what master parachuter? What do you call it?
Oh, no, I'm a skydiver. Yeah. I'm
a skydiver.
Just to be clear, but yeah.
Excuse me?
I'm not a professional skydiver. People say that because I have a lot of skydives, but that's a whole other thing in the skydive world to say you're a professional. Means you get paid to do it, and I don't.
No, I called you a master. I don't know. But to me, you're a master because you do it so much.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, so that's a really cool thing about you. You're brave anyway. So Okay. All right.
I'm
Please
willing to get
continue.
out
I'm
there.
sorry.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
always been willing to get out there no matter how I feel about it. Um, so I'm just thinking back to when I was doing expos. I think it's just, for me, it was just the training that I had helped me recognize where my fear was in the way of the reading. And so there was enough practice to like recognize what that looked like and label it for what it is rather than to call it the truth. And so just the practice of moving that out of the way, like that's not the truth. It's my head, and my head is in the way of this right now. So I need to put my attention over here and not over here. So it's really is just where you point your attention.
Yeah, and some people are better at it than others. Some people aren't good at it at all. And that's the one thing about channeling or using your intuition is to get out of your way, even if you're having a bad day. Maybe you just got a really
And
bad
you're
phone
tired.
call 5 minutes before your client showed up,
Yeah.
and it's bad news, and you have to like switch it off.
Yeah.
And some of us can do that, and some of us can't.
Yeah.
I can do that. I don't know how or why. I can't even explain to you how, but I do. I know I do, because when I'm with a client, and you too, it's you're all completely focused on them. The whole world is them. It's
Mhm.
like the problem that came to you an hour ago isn't even in your conscious field at that moment. You're completely in. It's kind of like a gift. If you get bad news, I did get bad news once when I was in Hawaii. I got the news that my father died,
Mhm.
and then I had 2 clients. And they were related. There was a stepmother and a daughter. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting that a stepmother and a daughter would come to me in 2 different states. I don't even know if they even knew they were coming to me. If the other one knew that they were even coming to me, because I don't tell people who my clients are.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, I think there's something in this family that's angelic, and they've like landed to help me deal with my father's death.
Oh, wow.
So I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to do it. And I told myself, you can do it. And I did. And when I was with, I'm going to cry. And when I was with them, I was able to separate a little bit. And so I wasn't in this complete sadness. I was with them. And then it wasn't until after the session, I'm like, oh my God, they gave me an hour break. Each one gave me an hour break from my sadness. And that's
Yeah.
how I viewed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never even told them afterwards this story. I think I should contact them and tell them that it's just boggles my mind that 2 people who are related would have sessions with me on the same day that my father died. There's
Yeah.
something there. I find it interesting. But
Yeah.
anyway, the fact that I can escape through my sessions.
Mhm.
Do you feel like that too?
Yeah. So what you just described is what I would do at expos, but it's also like the when I speak at a conference, that also happens there. But remember, I said like before the mantis came in, I was like, I had to push my energy out to like protect my field, and it takes a lot from me to do that. And then post mantis, I didn't have to do that as much. It was like I was already at a vibration that could hold its own, whereas before it was like I had to push myself into a vibration to be able to be with, and it's so exhausting. And I think when I did expos, there was a lot of that. Like at the end of the day, I just wanted to like crawl into a hole. Like it was really
It's
exhausting.
very exhausting.
And it was just this constant like pushing out of my energy and then clearing somebody's stuff out, letting somebody's stuff in and then clearing somebody's stuff out. I mean, it's like lifting weights for 12 hours. It sucked. So, but I don't think that's the only way. I mean, I think you can very much not feel that exhaustion and not have to push that out if you are living at a very high frequency, or can access it very readily, or with help, or however it looks. I don't even know. Really, I'm just describing the different experiences I've had, but I'm sure there are other experiences that other people have when they do readings, how they clear themselves and how they feel after.
Yes, that is a commonly asked question. How do I clear myself from my client's energy? Which is extremely important to do, or you're not going to be able to do the work.
Mhm.
It's just, how do I stop from taking my clients' problems home? I've never taken any of my clients' problems
Yeah, I
home,
haven't
ever. I
either.
never even thought of doing it.
Mhm.
But there are people who do. And there is a way. I mean, there's a
Codependency.
way for all of this. You just have to learn, and you just have to practice, and you can be successful at it.
I think when we are, quote, taking our clients' stuff home, that's the ramifications of codependency. So if you need your clients to need you, then you're going to take their stuff home. Some people, I think I'm so easily disconnected. I mean, I was a nurse for 20 years. Like, there's a degree of clinical distancing that you learn. Like, you can't be all in, or you will burn out instantly. You know, it's especially like working hospice. You need to be fully present and be there with them, but also have the spiritual strength to know that it doesn't belong to you, and that you were of service, and it stays with them, and that you will have your own experience of it when it's time for you to have your own experience of it at that level. But I think people and nurses are, the biggest the biggest group of people, I think, who fall in that, and light workers also fall into the codependency trap. And so that's just self-work. That's work you need to do on yourself. If you're taking your clients home, it's not so much about clearing your space. It's more about doing your own work. You need to be an independent body.
And some coaches or counselors who just give too much. Call me anytime.
Same stuff.
Someone
Yes.
calls you at 10 o'clock and they answer the phone.
Text
No.
me anytime, call me anytime, and then I'm emailing them to see, did you, I'm your accountability partner. Did you do your thing? Like, no. You are not your client's accountability partner. No, don't do that. Your client can create their own accountability partner if they need it. And you can hold them accountable next time you see them. But reaching out to them and doing the touchy-feely thing all the time is one way to take your client's stuff home with you and be carrying around a lot of people's junk.
Yes, what some people, just like you said, want to do. It's their definition. Makes them feel important, maybe, or valued.
I don't know. I think it's different for everybody. Value might be worthiness is usually what comes up with the codependency. I need to feel worthy. I need to be doing something good in order to feel like I'm worth being on this planet. And that's just, old stuff. You need to let go of.
Did you have any problems processing your ET contact?
Yes.
Okay, tell us about that.
The mantis, because it was so clear. And I was like, that's clearly an ET. And then I was like, wait, am I sure? And I was like, what do I do with this now? I invited it in, I did the thing, like we had an experience. And now what was that for? What do I do with it now? Was it a real thing? So I got in touch with someone who actually does work with the mantis, and she actually sees them. Like, she'll see one on a street corner, that kind of thing. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to do that. But she helped me initially process that, yes, what I felt, what I saw, what I heard was real. That yes, they often have a very beneficial, or benign, beneficial, helpful tact. Like, they're here to try and help us. But like any other species, there are variations. And so, some people can have bad experiences with a different variation or a different frequency. So she helped me with that, understand that, okay, it's real. Number one, this happened.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. Other people experience it. What I've experienced is consistent with other stories. And she said, I've never had a bad experience with mantis, but I know people who have. And she said, I think sometimes it's just where you are in your process, in your
perspective,
in your perspective of the experience.
I really haven't heard
in your world. That would be scary. But I'm totally open to there being. I've had enough experiences to know there's plenty of beings out there, and we're just oblivious.
Right. With a variety of different frequencies and And so
And
there
we are
could
not
be,
very high, let me just tell you.
we're not
We're not very high. Humans are like lowest on the totem pole.
pretty low.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's probably planets out there that are lower than us. Probably. I
Yeah,
don't know what that
they
looks
probably
like.
self-destructed, like, on a path that
We're
we're
on
on.
the path.
Mhm.
Okay. So, you were a nurse for 20 years
Mhm.
and you were in hospice
Mhm.
as well.
Mhm.
And you had ET contact
Yep.
and then you became a coach.
I've had some sort of contact my whole life,
Yeah.
and it has been directive in the sense of, hey, there's a path here that you can take, and if you take it, we'll help you. If you choose not to, that's okay. And lately I've kind of reflected back on that, and it almost seems as if the times I've been asked by an entity, like, do you want to go forward with this, happened before what I call a checkout point. So what happened in the Peace Corps, and very soon after that, I was sitting. So I had that experience of the Hare Krishna when I was in the Peace Corps, and I was very few weeks after that. I was sitting in the middle of a river that was just low flow river with my headphones in, listening to whatever. And this voice said, "Look to your left." And I looked left, and there was a bridge and a bunch of people on it, and they were all pointing at me. And my response was in my head was like, of course they're pointing at me. I'm an American in the middle of the river, and like, who would do that? And then they were like this. So I like turned the other way, and there was a wall of water. There's apparently a dam upstream, and they opened the dam, and this huge wall of water was coming at me. I couldn't hear anybody yelling at me because I had headphones in. They were just like, and I swear I walked on water, man. I ran out of there so fast. But I've had probably, I think I've counted 6 or 7 of those like checkout points where I've been saved essentially by something saying like, nope, not your time. This is what you need to do right now. So
That's a remarkable story.
mhm.
It saved your life?
For sure. That voice saved my life. And then I had another one about 8 years ago under canopy and a parachute canopy where I was being dragged backwards because the winds were so high. And it was like the choices were going backwards, light poles, building, concrete parking lot, trees, and 2 highways. And that was my landing area as I was going backwards. And the same thing happened. I like looked and I was like, oh my God, this could be the moment where I check out. And then this voice said, well, yeah, nature frankly doesn't give up about you, but we got your back. And then I just knew what to do. I like grabbed my, steering things, and I like turned, and I ended up in the one little dirt patch there was behind the parking lot in front of the row of trees. I couldn't have planned that. It just
So
happened.
the message was nature really doesn't care if you live or die.
No, nature doesn't give a
Nature itself. Yeah, you're part of the
nature
flow.
does not care. You're part of the flow. But we've got your back. And then I just knew what to do. And there was huge feeling of overcoming of peace. Like when I was like, oh, this may be my checkout point, I just like felt total peace. And I was like, okay.
You were peaceful in that moment when you were
100%. Like I feel
That's
like if I could feel like this
incredible.
before I die, that's pretty awesome. Yeah.
As you were trying to save your life, you were
Uh-huh.
very, very peaceful.
Yeah, it just sort of overcame me in that way. But in the when I was in the Peace Corps, I was freaked out. Like I got on the bank and I was like, I almost died. Holy crap. Yeah. So I've had a few of those where I've been like, it's rocked me.
I've had a couple moments where things happened to me that I cannot explain. I wasn't doing them. Something kind of like took over and was doing something that saved my life. I know at least two times.
Yeah.
I don't talk about them very much, but afterwards, it just gets you thinking. It's like, shoot, you know how they always say you're never alone? You're
Mhm.
never really alone. I
Mhm.
mean, I was in a situation where I could have died and something just took over and I didn't die. It's still mind-boggling to me. And then you think, well, why didn't I die? Why aren't I supposed to die? Okay, am I supposed to be doing something? And so this whole with one thing I've noticed with experiencers, and the reason I asked why you wanted to be a coach and when your ET contact came was because a lot of experiencers have this feeling, oh, I have to do something. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I have to give something to the world. I have to say something to the world. But
Mhm.
it's giving, 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 giving. It's not from a selfish or egotistical place at all.
Mhm.
And that happens so often after ET contact. And I wonder how many coaches or therapists or counselors have had an ET contact or a spiritual moment like that, that
Mhm.
kind of push them into a field where they're giving.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I've always felt like I had a mission since I had that experience when I was 8, and whatever being came to me and was like, "Oh, do you wanna help with this problem with the children on Earth?" You know, like, basically the Earth, "Do you wanna help humanity?" And I said, "Yes," and then again, when I was in the Peace Corps, asked me the same question, and I think had I been like, "I don't want this is not no, I don't want this," I probably would have left on a checkout point.
Oh, okay. You know what that reminds me of? That's so interesting. When I was having ET contact from age 10 to 12 with the same being that would come and visit me, and the very, very last time I saw him, I was with a group of kids this time, which was unusual. And after the spaceship flew away and we knew we weren't going to see him again, I heard in my head, okay, it's time to get to work.
Mhm.
But I didn't know what that meant. I had no idea. I'm like,
Yeah, I
"Oh,
had
I'm
no
only 12
idea.
years old. Like, what
Yeah.
am I
I
supposed to be
still
doing?"
don't know. Like, I keep
Well,
every job I've ever had has been in service, and so it's always been like, "Well, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try this." So I have, like, 4 careers, you know? Like, let's just try
yeah.
what's next? Like, how else do you want me to serve? And just keep
How
doing it
more
because
can
I
I
don't
give?
know. I don't know what the answer is, like
Well, ultimately, I think it's just to radiate love as much as you can. Ultimately, that's the biggest thing that we can
yeah.
do.
Yeah, I think we
Mhm.
get caught up in, like, I'm supposed to write a book or, I'm
Right.
supposed to be on a speaking tour or,
Mhm.
I have this our ego gets caught in it, and the reality is it does kinda come down to be here now, follow instructions, do what there is to do, say what there is to say, be what there is to be, and don't, don't try
And
to
follow
direct it.
instructions?
Mhm.
What do you mean?
My guide gives me instructions. "Oh, sign up for this thing. Go do that."
Oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you
I just
listen to that.
know. It's like when I found the coaching program, I was like, "Oh, this is it." Like, my whole body's like, "Okay, I'm doing it."
Yeah. Mhm.
It doesn't matter what barriers or obstacles I put in my head, like, I don't have enough money is one of them. Like, when it's a real, "You're gonna go," it's like, "Don't
Yeah.
worry about it, we'll take care of it. Go."
It finds you.
It
Exactly.
finds me, yeah.
Mhm.
It's not very co it doesn't happen often, although related to other people's experiences, it probably does happen often to me given I've had, like, 4 careers going on the 5th, like, it happens a lot to me, but,
Mm.
like, it doesn't happen every day. I'm not, like, waking up and being like, "What do you want right now?" I'm just like, "Oh, you want me to teach people intuition stuff? That sounds like fun. Let's try it out." And then it's hard because to build an audience to get people to sign up, into a program is like a whole thing. It's not going to magically come to you. You have to meet it halfway, and that's not always easy either. So,
Yes, there's a very 3D component to these 3D plus instructions that we
uh-huh.
have to figure out.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like the
Okay.
IKEA furniture.
Just like what?
It's like IKEA furniture. They give you the
Oh,
instructions. It's all there. Eventually, there will be a bookshelf, but have fun trying to get it together.
that's funny. All right, tell everyone how they can get in touch with you to join your coaching program. Do you want people to get in touch with you with any ET stories, or if someone had a similar story, do you want to hear from them or no? You can say no.
Um, honestly, I love talking to people, so anybody's welcome to email me with whatever.
Okay. So tell us your
Yeah.
email and your website and all that.
Sure. So my email is grace@thirdeyecoach.com. And then you can just go to insightadvantage.com or insightadvantageprogram.com or thirdeyecoach.com. And I have a lot of they'll all direct you to the same place.
I love that
So,
name, Third
yeah.
Eye
Third
Coaching.
Eye Coach Development is my business name, my
That's a
DBA.
cool name.
And then the program is the Insight Advantage for ICF coaches. Yeah.
Grace, thank you for coming out with your ET story. How did it feel?
Thank you. It's good, I can talk forever, so I just go off at the mouth. I do a lot of listening, so when I get a chance to talk, I'm going. So thank you for that.
Right, any opportunity to talk.
Yeah.
All right, Grace, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sav. It's always a pleasure to see you, and I love you.
Aw, I love you too.